So this lab is going to focus on plate tectonics, and so you'll get some information from, of course, the lecture material, and then the pages that precede this lab give you some more information about the specific type of boundaries. So some of those questions, some general questions, will be posed in the lab that you'll need to answer, but certainly you're going to use this Earth's fractured surface map to answer some of the questions. So you'll just download it and then open it in a PDF viewer. I have mine here opened in a Adobe Acrobat PDF viewer here. And so some of the things to take note of is there's a couple legends. There's one on the bottom right and the bottom left here. So you can just zoom in. So once you zoom in where you can actually read some of the information, you will have to scroll around kind of left and right and up and down. And so that'll give you some ways to answer some of the questions about what some of the symbols indicate. So on the bottom right there, and then you can cruise over here to the bottom left, and there's some more symbols here. And so some of the questions they're going to pose are asking you to look as a whole. So you might want to zoom out a little bit and kind of scroll up and look for some features that it's trying to point out here on the map. There will also be some questions related to just general plate tectonic stuff that, like I said, you've talked about in the previous pages. And let's see, what else did I want to point out to you? So a couple things just in case you're having a hard time finding things, because once again this isn't really searchable, is that here is Hawaii that's hanging out here, in case you weren't sure where that is, right? So here's the North American plate, Japan's over here, Hawaii's kind of hanging out in the middle there. Let's see, is there another location? I don't know that I make you look at, let's see. So over here, there's a question that talks about the Nazca plate. So here's the Nazca plate, and here's the South American plate. So just for location purposes, so you kind of know where to look for that question. And also we come up to North America, which is up here. There's a couple questions about what's happening in the North American plate there. And then let's see, the only other things that you'll have to look at, and it's just for a couple, I think a couple questions, is in the upper right hand corner here, there's some notable earthquakes that we see here and notable volcanic eruptions. Just be careful because the earthquakes are circles and the notable eruptions are squares, so they can look similar on the map if you don't take a good look. And so it asks you about what the death toll was for certain things. So you have to find it, and then you can just read off the value there. But if you have to find it on the map, you'll either look for that number as a circle or a square to figure out what type of plate boundary that was. And then the last part of the lab is actually a little bit of math, which I know everybody loves, but it's going to ask you some rate questions. So a lot of times when we talk about plate tectonics, we talk about movements and how fast the plates are moving. And so we can do some calculations. If we know the average speed of a plate, we can determine how long it's going to take to move from one location to another. Or we can calculate a rate if we know how long it's moved over a certain period of time. So there is a second video that's embedded in the lab that kind of talks a little bit about doing the rate problems there. So that's what that second part of the lab is. So just make sure that you can zoom in enough to read what you need to on here, so it shouldn't be a problem. And that's kind of the basic stuff that you'll need for the lab. It'll just be this map and then a little math knowledge that I'll help you through with another video. So good luck.